There we go. Yes. Yes. Hello, little Lunga. I think it's Lunga. Looks like it might be her. Yay. Finally. I was checking the southern firebreak every day to see. It's not Lunga. It's the princess, Tlalamba. Hello, girl. Exactly, Nadine. It's been 2 weeks of trying. Hello, Tlalamba. It would have been awkward if I had to get her, but she's used to me celebrating finding her. It's always like this when I do. And yeah, so just wrapping up the last part is that crocodiles are more dangerous than alligators or caiman, and so that's why we typically find that the predators like leopard don't swim in, because leopard falls into a category a little bit smaller than lions and is easily overpowered by crocodiles. Oh, yay. This is good news because there's no tracks coming from Torchwood side, so she must have gone through Chitwa, Little Gari and coming back up. I see her tracks came from Twin Dams here and then just onto the firebreak and was going to where she's lying down, which is super exciting. She looks hot, but very chilled, which is cool. There we go, off we go, and we start to walk as is normal. Hopefully she doesn't cross south. Pretty sure that it's going to be her normal route, which is to go along the firebreak and then bend up towards Treehouse Dam. So let's try and just catch up with her. It is Tlalamba. That's what I said. I said it's not Lunga, it's the Princess Tlalamba. So initially I said maybe it's Lunga, but then when I looked, it's Tlalamba, 100%. So sorry if those of you that maybe misheard or didn't hear me say Tlalamba, but it's definitely Tlalamba. You can see also her coloration and her rosette size is different. Lunga's got very small rosettes and lighter than what Tlalamba is. Tlalamba's got probably one of my most favorite coats out of any leopard. She's got this beautiful, like rich golden coat. Very, very vivid in coloration. When you see her, she's such a beautiful cat, and then combined with those eyes, she's very, very cool. She's such a striking cat, Tlalamba. She has supermodel looks, that's for sure. Always has. A very, very pretty cat. Alrighty, let's try and keep up with her. I'm loath to go in front of her because it might just make her turn, and I don't want to turn her into Little Gari, just because of the fact that there's often things on this firebreak, and if she cuts, then we're not going to have her for much longer. So what I want is just to stay behind her for now until she reaches Weaver's Nest, which is where I think she's going to turn north up Weaver's Nest and start heading towards Treehouse. But isn't that cool? That little white tail bobbing along the road. Oh, it's my favorite thing. I get so excited when I find a leopard. There's nothing better in this world, in my opinion, than following behind one. Leopard Lovey saying everyone's cheering for me. Well, I mean, I didn't really do much, to be honest. There was very little skill involved here. It was just literally driving down a road and checking places that we know leopards like to hang about. So very cool that we managed to eventually find her. It's not like we haven't looked for her for a number of days now. But she has her cyclic route that she walks, and I was talking about it I think yesterday when I said she went into Torchwood, and she'll come around, and it just depends on whether somebody catches her in Little Gari or Chitwa, and then when she comes back into Djuma. But there she goes up the hill. Now of course I do need to actually radio this in at some point, which I will do shortly. Oh, the light on her is going to be beautiful if we get around. I'm not sure. I'm just thinking maybe it's worth going way up towards the junction and then just parking at the junction, but she can be tricky because she can just cut in. You see she's scent marking a lot now. What's going to be interesting and telling in terms of this whole cubs situation, I know Rex thinks that maybe they're still alive, and I mean, I respectfully disagree, but that's, I hope that they are, but I don't think that's the reality. But if she vocalizes tonight while scent marking, can almost be sure that she's starting to come into estrus cycles. That's a very typical thing that female leopards do. So you see now, if we'd gone around to the junction and she cuts in like this, we would have missed her completely. So it's always better just to stay with her. Look at the coloration of her coat. She's beautiful. Like I say, if we start hearing her sawing a lot, then we know that there's a likelihood of that they're not here. Alright, let's just go forward a bit. Try and just get into a place where Paul can see her better. Hello, my girl. Oh, it's been a while since I've spent time with her. She really is such a pretty cat, and like I always say, she holds such a special place for me. You know, when I remember the first time we saw her, and she was this tiny little ball of fluff, and already at that age she was causing trouble. She was coming out of the den, much to Tundi's dismay, and kind of walking down the slope and just busy, and she's always been like that. But there's just something about her that is incredibly pretty. But yeah, let me just quickly radio her in. Our stations are located at Tlalamba. On the fire break, she's west of Twin Dams, mobile now in a north-westerly direction.